So we're going to do a pull and delt routine today. It's a scheduled routine that I do every single week. Nothing too glamorous. So we're going to be doing a seated cable lateral raise to start with, a single arm pull down, upper back chest supported row, a single arm row, upper back pull downs, a reverse pec fly, a single cable arm preacher curl, and a dumbbell hammer curl. So that's the day we've got planned today. Let's get to it. So on my pull day, pull and rear delt day, so the programming always sits the same for me. So lateral raise comes into play at the beginning of this workout. For one, it works other muscles in the top of the back. So it works the serratus anterior, it works the traps, and it works a rhomboid. So it's got a good activation of the upper back before you actually start working your back. And also, for planning of the sculpture of your body, there's no harm in having massive shoulders. So lateral raise are very much part of every workout that I do. So let's get on with it. So the reason why I do cable lateral raises, for one, I don't have a lateral raise machine. So this is a great alternative to that. It's a little bit more, you have a little bit more stability than you are chucking up dumbbells. The resistance profile on these are better than dumbbells as well. So using the cuffs on your wrist or your arm takes away the squeezing of your hand that obviously activates the forearm. So it takes all that away and it just concentrates exactly where you want it to, which is the side of the shoulders. So it's a win-win. Setup on these cables are pretty simple for me. I have the bench in a position. You can have it anywhere really. You can have seated right up, or wherever you're comfortable. I feel quite comfortable in a slightly leant back position. Cables sort of knee height either side, cuffed on the wrist. Start in your upright position, nice and comfortable. Bring them slowly down. Don't let the forearms go in front of the rib cage. You just keep them slightly on the outside and you drive up, slightly forward, and just sort of try and think about your little fingers driving up first. You want a nice slow motion down, slight pulse, drive, and again pulls at the top. And I tell you what, a few of those and the shoulders will be on fire. So a nice little tip for shoulder workout. If you want an alternative to dumbbells, cables are a great alternative. So our next one is a single arm pull down. So it's quite a simple, bench upright almost, single hand, and the strap, the important strap. So this one is very much a lat bias. So really working on that back movement on this one to try and grow the lats. So seated position on this one, hands slightly pronated. You don't want any body movement in this. You want full lateral contraction. So you almost want to think about driving your elbow down into the pocket of the hip. Hold yourself away, embrace, engage that core. Elbow down, rather than pulling back, you want elbow down into the floor. Full out, almost let the scap roll down, so protraction at the top. And elbow into the pocket of the hip. If you hit the technique right on this, you won't need to go heavy. It's that lat doing all the work. As soon as you start feeling body roll come in, you know it's time to stop working and lighten up that load. So just work the rep ranges and the load on whatever you're doing. Another important thing in between sets while you're resting is always log what you've just done, so you know exactly where you are. There's so many people in the gym that don't track what they're lifting. How do you know when you're progressing if you're not tracking your lifts, not tracking your reps? You can even track your rest if you need to, but always track the lifts, always track the reps, and you know exactly what you're going to be doing on your next training session. It's another thing I get asked a lot about as well, rest. So you see me wandering around the gym quite a bit. It's only because I'm rested in between my workout. Get asked a lot, how long do you rest for? What's optimal rest? I do 2 sets of mainly everything in my workout. So when it comes to rest, it all depends on the individual. For me, I reckon I don't time it. I think it's about 2 minutes. It literally depends on how you feel. If you feel like you're ready to go again on that next set, then you start and you go for it. So if my set is 8 to 12 reps, I'm going flat out to hit that 8 rep. And my second set might be 12 to 15. If I'm still blowing after my first set, there's no way I'm going to be hitting 12 to 15 reps next. So just rest in accordance to what you're lifting. If it's a circuit, then you're bouncing from circuit to circuit. That's fine. That's supposed to be that. But here we're supposed to be building muscle in the most optimum way possible. The optimum way possible is to make sure you hit your load and your reps. So just rest. Don't be scared. People are scared to rest. Don't be, because you could be hindering your performance if you don't. So the programming for my upper back day and a lot of other days as well, so it's unilateral stuff, so single-sided first basically. So exhaust singles before you hit your doubles, like pull downs and using a fixed bar. So as you can see, for the first 3 exercises I do, lateral raise, singles. Even though I'm doing it dual, they are singles. There is not a fixed bar. Single arm pull downs, chest supported row, again, unilateral, they're not fixed. So it always exhausts your unilateral work before going on to your fixed double workout, because we all have a stronger side, and if you start on your fixed workout, then I just don't feel like you're going to get the best development in the muscle you're trying to work. Okay, so we're going to be doing an upper back chest support workout now on our new low row. Very nice. So the reason why I use the block, you see people use blocks or plates underneath to raise things up. So the reason why I use this is because from this position, just that little extra position there, I can actually get into position to start my lift from the first lift. What I don't want personally, or my clients doing, is stretching to get into position, then wriggling once you've got the load in your hand. You almost want to start from rep 1. So that is your lift. So if you can set yourself up in a position where you're lifting from that first initial lift, it just saves you so much energy, you know, shuffling back and all these different areas. Just start off. Again, I preach it all the time. Setup is absolutely key. So it's a nice tip to have something just raising, especially on these machines, just getting them into position so you're ready to lift from rep 1. So that's a great tip or a tool to use in the gym. This one, you've really got to get the position right. You see so many people training with this wrong. It's called a low row, but it's actually an upper back workout. So think of your arm path when you're doing this. So if you were doing it on a bench with dumbbells, you'd be coming up here. A T-bar row, you'd be coming up here. It's a similar sort of thing. So make sure your seating position's right. So I'm quite short, so I have this quite high, so I can get the arm path coming up in that direction. You can go wider on the grip, or you can come a little bit more narrow. I prefer the narrow one. So on this one, your arm path should be coming up to work the upper back area. So when you're doing this, make sure you're set up. Your sternum should be basically on that pad all the time. I do get a lot of flexion on this, but my chest never leaves the pad. What I want you to do, as you come forward, your scap should be wrapping around, your shoulders basically wrap around that pad, and as you bring it back, you just pump that upper back up, but my chest never leaves the pad. It almost looks like I'm getting too much movement, but I never leave the pad. So make sure you get all stretch, basically sees your shoulders wrap around the pad. Push against the pad as you lift and squeeze at the very top. Single arm row, again, unilateral before we go into our double movements. So on this one, we are going to be, it's very much lat bias, this whole routine, followed by some rear delt, so sort of upper body part of the back. So on this one, make sure you're in a position, because on this one you can do upper and lower. So you want to be fairly high for me, because I want my arm half coming down in towards my hip, working the lat. Now if I wanted to do upper back, I would take it much further down, because I would be higher up and my arms would be coming up. So really think about your positioning and what you're trying to work when you're doing exercises. So we're all here to try and enhance our physique. So for me, obviously bigger shoulders, bigger lats, give you an optimum that you've got a much smaller waist if you've got a bigger back and bigger shoulders. So it's in the program for a reason, and that's the way we do it. So always think about your programming and where you put your exercises, especially on the day-to-day running. So my program never changes, same routine for 40 weeks. It doesn't need to change because I'm still growing, I'm not getting bored. You can't be bored on something you're passionate about, and also you can't be bored on something that you're seeing progress with. It isn't optimum to keep switching up your training sessions every 4 to I get asked every 4 to 8 weeks that they're getting bored on the same training program. For me, you can always make progress on what you're doing. So execution of your workout should be the forefront of your mind. Progressive overload, making sure you hit new numbers, not every week, but you can, progress isn't just load, progress is better technique, an extra rep, better form overall, smaller rest periods. So there's different ways to see progress. That's what I'm getting at. that last lift. Now I could have rushed or twisted or came out of form to hit probably 3 or 4 more reps, but they're almost wasted reps. You've got a bigger chance of being injured. They're not really going to stimulate the muscle. You're just going to be wasting a lot of energy hitting poorly executed reps. So you've got to really think about, is it worth doing those reps, or is it just better hitting the right form, getting the execution perfect and hitting your rep range? Because if I hit 8 reps then on good form, that's my target for next week. I hit 9 with good form. Now if I hit 3 or 4 and I put 13 down, are they shit or good reps? So just write down good form, keep to your form, rather than hitting numbers for the sake of hitting numbers just so you can load up some more weight. There's no point. So this is our first fixed bar, in a sense, on this workout. So everything at the moment has been singles unilateral work. So this is our first dual pull down. So this is at that very end of all my back work actually. So for all the pulls that I do for back, this is my last one of the program, and then I start working on rear delts and arms. So let's get into this. You can see the position I'm in once I set up, a little bit lower than normal on a lat pull down, angle my arms out, make sure I'm really working that top of the back, sort of rear delt work. So let's get after it. Setting this one up, you just got to make sure that you've got the absolute stretch, so you're not hitting the top before you stretch out. So I always have hips in as much as we can. We go back as we come up. I want it almost feels like someone's pressing your sternum and it doesn't move, so you've got to protract around this bar holding you, so everything wraps around, so you get the massive stretch in your back, and as you're bringing it down, you almost want to push your chest into it to get as much squeeze at the back, but really the sternum doesn't move. You're just wrapping your whole body around this middle section here. So make sure when you're setting up and you're working on this one, that's sort of how you're feeling. Okay, full stretch. And as you lean back, even more stretch. Push sternum, and then just keep it in place, letting the body wrap around the chest. Let's get after it, let's go. Right, so next one is reverse delt fly. So I do these on 2 different stations. So first one I use is cables, but on my other pull day I actually use it on the machine. So setup is very, very, very easy on these. Not a lot to go wrong, and you can really target the rear delts if you're doing it correctly. So for me, I always like leaning almost into the pad, so my hips are slightly further back, leaning in. And you see a lot of people just trying to get it back as far as you can. Full extension out, and you almost want to feel like you want to hit either side of the wall rather than going backwards. So you want to go out. It's a very small muscle you're trying to target. You don't need a huge amount of load, and you just got to get the technique bang on for this. So try not to just throw it backwards, trying to go back as far as quickly as you can. Really control the motion going out, push it out, and then you'll feel that even more. So we're going to get after this one. This is 3 sets. It's my first 3-setter of the day. So let's get after it. So lucky I got 3 different rep ranges on this one. First one's 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15. So I will be going down in load. I have a lifted better today, or I didn't have enough rest because I got 12 reps on that last week. I'm gonna just rest a little bit longer. Single arm preacher on the cable is one of my favourite arm exercises for sure. Just because of the resistance profile of it as well. With a dumbbell, you can sort of force it, throw it up. With this one, if you're stuck, I mean, you've got nowhere else to go. You've got your tricep pushed into the pad, your arm's trying to come up and meet your face. It's just not happening. So with this one, you can, obviously you're doing single arm, so you can obviously give it the squeeze, take your arm away, just let yourself get the negative in, and then you can do a couple of full steps on the biceps. I feel like you can do this in a pretty much injury-free type of way if you help that movement up. So you can definitely squeeze a few more full reps, I would say, with a single preacher curl, just because you've got the other arm to help up. So with this one, obviously setup is key. So make sure you're in a position where your armpit is basically pressed into the pad, your tricep is pushed onto the pad. And because I'm on a single cable, I literally keep my arm in line with the column. And as I'm coming up, I don't let it come away from the column itself. So when I'm here, it's coming up in a straight line rather than coming across. See, a lot of people just bring it across. So I always try to keep it locked in, tricep down, pushed into that pad, and try to bring it up in line with the column, and you really do get that, head, the squeeze on that bicep. So setup again is key, load is key, because I had that on the wrong number a minute ago. So make sure you read your numbers right. Dumbbell hammer curls now to finish off the day. So again, really strict with these ones. Just make sure you're getting a squeeze on the bicep, nowhere else. I always keep my arms locked back at the side and they almost go backwards as I squeeze up. Almost just trying to pull my forearm into my bicep. That's the sort of movement you want, rather than coming forward and then never really squeezing. Keep them fixed in. I almost pretend that I've got a bar and they've welded to my side and there's no movement on it apart from just coming up, squeezing on that bicep. So let's see how these 15s go. Let's try and hit a new number today. Bicep curling, or hammer curl, is one of the exercises you see mostly being done wrong in a gym, if I'm being honest. I've made my way back up to 15. When I was younger and a lot smaller, less strong, I used to chuck up 20 kilos. Fuck knows what I look like, but you see it a lot. Everything but bicep. I get a lot of people coming to me and we have to reduce the load by half. or maybe less. So keep it down, keep it controlled, feel the muscle. It's such a small muscle, the bicep. So you've really got to concentrate on getting that squeeze, controlling tension. That's how you're going to grow it. Chucking heavy weights up from your legs isn't going to grow your arms. So don't be the fool. Let's get growing. Done.